I've hot-footed it across the hall to DNH to meet Keith. Very good morning to you.
Very good morning to you. Thank you very much.
So tell me, what does DNH actually do?
Well, DNH is a loudspeaker manufacturer. We make commercial audio loudspeakers, mainly for installations such as stadiums, swimming pools, leisure centres, office buildings, shopping malls, rail stations, yeah, that sort of thing. Oil platforms is our big business. Oil and gas is our really big business. But yeah, it's primarily voice evacuation systems, alarm systems, alert systems, getting people out of dangerous situations by your power of voice.
I mean, that seems an incredibly discreet market. Are there many competitors in that field?
Yeah, well, there are certainly a number of competitors in the field, and it's becoming ever more important. The primary means of evacuating people in a case of emergency has for years and years been sounders and buzzers and bells and whistles, but people don't understand those. So now voice alarm is becoming ever more important, particularly in large buildings where people need instruction on where to go and how to get out of a building, rather than just hearing a cacophony of noise and a frightening situation where people don't understand. With a calm, rationed voice, yes, people can say, evacuate by building B or escalator C or whatever it might be.
That's a very good point, because I do think those bells, all they do is just heighten the fear. They incense the panic that you're already feeling. So you're right, if you could calm people with a voice and give clear instructions, that has to be a good thing.
Well, absolutely correct, yeah. In our life today, we hear so many alarms. There's burglar alarms going off, there's car alarms going off. They all sound just a noise. Nobody really understands what they mean. And by and large, we take no notice of them because they are so prevalent in our everyday life. People just don't know what they're listening to. Quite often, we'll all have been in buildings where an alarm goes off and everybody stands around and looks at each other and goes, I wonder what that is. Do you think it matters? Of course, in certain instances, it may well have mattered. Yes. And by that time, it's too late. People's reactions are completely slowed down. Nobody knows what's going on. So when somebody says to you, this is a fire alarm, please evacuate the building, repeats that message in a calm, measured way, and then people can react to that. Every major building will have its fire safety case, and there will be trained people who can react to that and help people out of the building in a calm, measured way. Job done.
So I assume acoustically you have a number of challenges, particularly on oil rigs, for example, stadium, all sorts of things that you have to take into consideration when designing a system.
Acoustically, these are very challenging, and we have to, when the test is done, we're always trying to achieve a certain speech intelligibility level. That's normally measured between 0 and 1, but 0.5 of that would be saying, yeah, this is pretty good speech intelligibility. People will understand what is being said to them. Yeah. So that's what we try to achieve by placement of the loudspeaker and type of loudspeaker we're placing in that environment. For example,
I was going to say that's a lovely segue to over here. Yeah, what have you got here?
I mean, these typically these are marine loudspeakers, so these will be used on ships. Another area where there are quite often problems. You know, a fire on a ship, people need to be evacuated to certain parts of the ship, or in a worst case, completely evacuated from the vessel. So they need clear instruction. But products like this, they're weatherproof. Obviously on a ship it needs to be designed to be salt resistant and all that sort of stuff. It needs to be completely weatherproof. These are IP67, which means they're resistant to all sorts of ingress of dust and water.
And how loud does this get in terms of decibels?
This particular one, you'll probably get up to about 106, 107 dB. It's not a particularly loud speaker, it's quite a small speaker. And it's not, if I'm perfectly honest, designed specifically for that environment. It's more of a something to attract an attention type of speaker. Something like this, which is designed for use on an oil platform. Yeah, sure. This is designed for use on an oil platform. On an oil platform, of course, what you might have is horrible, nasty, noxious gases floating around. So all sorts of, sort of things that may be flammable. So you have to design a loudspeaker that won't have any sparking from it. So these are specially designed and specially tested that they will not cause a spark at any time. The environment is protected from what's inside the loudspeaker. So when that's working, it's not going to cause a flashpoint of an ignition. Yeah. And thereby cause a problem. So all of this stuff that's designed for hazardous areas, as we call them, are specially constructed that they will not cause any problems.
And What is the sound quality like that it comes out of something like this? Because you're compromising because of the plastic, I assume, acoustically, but obviously good enough to hear.
With any horn loudspeaker, you're compromising on the quality of the frequency. The speech signal is compressed slightly. That's the same with any horn loudspeaker. What you gain from that is a high sensitivity, so they're much louder. A horn loudspeaker will be much louder, but won't sound as good. Typically, you think of your railway station where somebody's going, train now standing out platform. Well, they sound a little bit that way. They're much better than that these days. But if you want wider sound quality, then you'll go for something which is a typical cone driver, and that produces a much wider frequency range, but at the expense of sensitivity. So in things like accommodation areas offshore, where people are actually living there, or in office areas, we'll use this sort of thing or this sort of thing. On the outdoor areas where it's very noisy, where there's compressors and generators going, horrendous noise, we'll need a much higher sound pressure level from the loudspeaker.
Fantastic. Just in terms of the exhibition yesterday, what was the impact of the exhibition? You know, were you busy yesterday?
Yes, it was good yesterday. Yeah, we've set our targets, and we just about exceeded our target. You know, we've got our clever little graph thing that we put together, and we just about exceeded that. So I'm quite a happy bunny today. You know, that's been pretty good. Good footfall and good quality of visitor as well. Actually, you know, it's quite often at some of the other shows we do, we get a lot of, in a disparaging way, I'd call them tire kickers or whatever. But at this show, nearly everybody seems to be a professional person who actually has a genuine interest in the product and its application. So yeah, pretty impressed.
Well, Keith, it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you are a happy bunny for a second day in a row. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much for your time.